directly to God. I am a Mormon. And Mormon just believes.
Wait. I thought it was Methodist.
And we have our very own Mormon here tonight, everyone.
Oh,
Come on in, Eric Huffman,
Oh.
local star and performer. We're so happy to have you with us.
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, you sing, you dance, you play piano, you cook, you love figure skating, you
I
love
sure do.
Top Chef, Harry Potter. I mean,
All of it.
we have got a lot to talk about. But we are kicking off our African food theme tonight, and we're going to have Eric share some stories about touring and Book of Mormon and other things. And we're going to kick it off right from the beginning. We're going to be making an African peanut stew.
Yes.
Yes. And Kevin is making gumbo, which I'm fascinated to hear how it all ties in. But Africa is a big place.
It is. It
So
really
there's a
is.
lot. It's kind of like
Lots
saying you're
of
cooking
different
American
cultures.
food.
Exactly.
That's right. So we're gonna, Kevin,
Kick it right off.
how
Yeah,
you doing
hi.
back there? Hi.
Hi, so nice
Tell
to
us
see you
what's
all.
going on back
Well,
here.
I'm working on gumbo, and the
Oh.
beginning of gumbo is a roux, which I've been working on for several minutes before we came on air.
Get the color of that roux.
Yeah. So we're trying to get it to be a dark brown. Well, not dark, but about this color brown. And this roux is made from a 1/4 cup of butter and then a 1/4 cup of flour that I've been stirring vigorously. Don't leave it for a second. Stir it vigorously. That I have been stirring here to make the gumbo. And I'm going to put some vegetables in right now because we're right at the right spot for that. I'm going to put some green peppers in. And I'm going to put in some onions. It's about 1 cup of each. And then 1 cup of celery. Does anyone know in the room what this is called? These 3 vegetables?
Oh, I know.
I do too.
Okay, let's say it
Okay.
together.
1, 2, 3.
The Holy Trinity.
That's.
You didn't say
I was going to say
anything.
mirepoix, but that's another way.
That's a fancy Holy Trinity.
We don't use those kind of big words in this show. You come to the wrong place for that. So we're going to stir this in and we're going to let this cook for 5 minutes. But while it's cooking and before you start your part, let me tell you why we're making gumbo. Gumbo comes from a stew in Africa. Hello.
I'm listening.
In Africa, that's made with okra. And okra in Africa is called gumbo. So
It's like mirepoix.
when it came from Africa, it became gumbo in Louisiana because they added the okra. And the okra, what the okra does is it thickens the stew. So we stick that in to thicken
Okra
it.
is a very divisive vegetable.
It really is.
But unlike cilantro, I don't mind it.
Yes. I
like
love it. My mother deep
I
fries it.
love
That's
gumbo.
the way I
I
like
love
it.
gumbo.
So, gumbo is really a stew. So that's what we're doing with this. We're gonna make the base of it here, and we're gonna let this cook until it gets soft. And then we're gonna come back to this because you're making something else, right?
We're going to jump in and start our African peanut stew. So, Eric, we jumped ahead because it takes a little time, not a lot of time,
But a little
some
bit.
steps. And so if we wanted to get it all in, so Eric graciously caramelized our shallots. And tell me how you caramelized the
It's
shallots.
super easy. Just takes a little bit of time. I got 2. Well, the recipe called for 2 shallots. I got 3 because I love them.
Me too.
Chop them up nice, thinly sliced. Put them oil in a little skillet. Let it get up nice and hot, like a nice medium hot. And then I put the shallots in, and you just slowly take care of them, stir them. Recipes often say 10 or 15 minutes. I highly recommend more like 30 to get a real nice, rich
If
color.
you really want that caramelized.
Yeah, they're delicious.
And so those are the caramelized shallots. And then this recipe calls for an eggplant that's been quartered. And it's called sweating out your eggplant. You want to dice it up, and then you're going to add some salt to it and let it set for about 30 minutes. And this little paper towel under here is wet because it's going to pull out the moisture. So once that's done, after 30 minutes, then you saute it in your skillet, and you drop some on the floor, for about 10 minutes. And so now we have, this is our eggplant and shallots together. And you take that out of your skillet, you set it aside. Because your next step,
Smells so good.
it does, it's those shallots. Okay, that's getting nice and hot. We're both using
yes.
our stock pots. today. Okay, and our next step, recipe please. Okay. Oh, yes. I'm gonna give you,
Yes, please.
ta-da. Okay, so
I'm fine over you. I don't have to worry about me.
Oh, great.
You just keep stirring that okra.
See, that's what you get when you make fun of me.
Okay, we have some diced ginger.
Mm.
Are you a ginger fan?
Huge
Yeah.
ginger fan.
I'm a more Mary Ann fan
I
myself.
know, it's coming. And some diced peppers. Now the recipe calls for a jalapeno. I like spice within moderation.
Yeah.
So what I did was do half jalapeno, half poblano,
Smart.
diced it up. So we're gonna put these in our oil. Actually, I think we're gonna start with the ginger.
Yep.
I'm gonna let you stir that around. Just like 30 seconds. Oh, and we're gonna do our chili.
Great.
There we go.
Just get it started.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, this is our spice blend. And the spices in this, cumin, coriander, turmeric, a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of kick. So once that's, I think we're at 30 seconds.
Yeah. Just getting them a little tender.
Just a little tender, like us, like all of us. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm gonna keep checking on Kevin occasionally. Okay, in go the spices. It's gonna smell so good.
Yeah. This is called toasting the spices if you're not familiar with that.
And why do we do that, Eric?
It really awakens them, it makes them bloom, it gets those oils inside the spices really poppin'.
Poppin'. We want poppin' spices.
Broadway show Spice Awakening.
Yeah, that was
Or
poppin'.
isn't there something a poppin'?
Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins,
Hell's a
Hell's a
Poppin'.
Poppin', Spices a Poppin'. You are here at Theater Sing for Your Supper.
right.
You've come to the right place. So we're gonna let that cook. And then the next thing, we have a chopped onion. Think we're good?
Yeah.
Are we tender? Are we blooming? Are we
We're tender and
poppin'?
we're blooming. Yeah,
Okay.
it smells amazing.
In goes.
Bloomin', that could be my fair lady.
Blooming.
There you got blooming onions.
How's the musical theater references today? See how many you get.
It's a challenge.
Oh, that looks so good.
That looks great.
We're gonna let that cook up for about 5 minutes. And then I'm gonna add tomato paste.
Come back to me while you're adding stuff to this
Okay.
before you add stuff.
Well, this has to take a few minutes.
Yep,
So
that's
we're
what
gonna
I'm saying.
swing back over to Kevin.
Yep.
Hi, it's nice to be here with you today. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got here. We've got our Holy Trinity that's all nice and brown. And you see how the roux has sucked up into the vegetables? Now what's going to happen is that roux, when we finish putting our things in, it's going to thicken the gumbo. So now what we're going to add 12 ounces of andouille sausage and 2 cloves of garlic.
Two of my favorite things.
Goes right on in. Let's stir that in. We're actually going to put everything in except the very last ingredient.
Is that love?
No, no. Love went in way before while I was doing the roux.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta love that roux. All right, then we're gonna put our spice mix in, which is Cajun spices, salt and pepper, and then
Salt and pepper! I have to do that every episode.
2 bay leaves go in here as well. So you sprinkle that in there. Mix that up. See how dry it is? Don't worry, it's not going to be when we finish. And then we're going to put our okra in. Okra. See how sticky it is? That's how it keeps the stew together and thickens our stew. So that goes right in there. It's about a cup of okra, fresh okra. Don't use frozen because it'll be slimy. You don't want it to be slimy. That's why people don't like okra, because it becomes slimy. All right, so that goes in, and now we're going to put our liquids in.
Need that?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay.
We have a 15-ounce can of it's got to be fire roasted diced tomatoes because it's got spices.
What?
Fire roasted, that's right.
I sense a theme.
That goes in there, and then we have 4 cups of chicken stock. If you make your own, that's great. I didn't have time to make it today.
Don't.
So 4 cups of chicken stock go in. And what will happen is we're going to bring this to a boil. and then we're gonna let it simmer for an hour.
Ooh.
And then we have one other ingredient that we have to put in.
It's an extra long episode today.
Yes, yes. So that goes in there, and you see how soupy it is now. See, look at that.
That is soupy.
One of the secrets to gumbo is to get a good seasoning and get that good flavor and let it sit for quite a while. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna move this out of the way and let you go ahead, and then I'm gonna show you the finished product with the last ingredient that we have to put in.
Okay. So our onions are getting translucent, and now we're gonna add our tomato paste and just cook that, stir and cook for a minute or so.
Yep, you just want to get that little canned metallic taste out of it.
Yes, we do. Nobody likes that.
No.
I just really, a few recipes call for cooking the tomato paste and stirring it in. I do it all the time now. It just deepens the flavor. I hadn't thought about the metallic, but I think you're right. But I just
And
think
it caramelizes the sugar in there just a little bit. It's great.
always, if you have tomato paste in a recipe, cook it for about a minute. You'll thank us later. I guarantee it. Okay, that is cooking. Now, just like Kevin, we are using the fire roasted tomatoes. It's 1 can with the juice.
It's a theme.
It's a thing. And we're doing vegetable broth. This is a vegetarian meal. I'm talking to you, Rachel Adcock. So, I knew you'd love this. Vegetable broth. You think that's good?
Yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, so in go our fire roasted tomatoes. And it calls for 2 cups of the vegetable broth. I made a batch the other night. I put in a little extra.
I
kind of got a little thick on me.
I always lean that direction.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna, I like to pour some in here and get all the goodness out.
That's a good trick.
And then we're gonna add some more. There were about 2 cups left in here.
Perfect.
So I'll leave a little bit out if we need to add more. We will.
I love a good, very accurate measure.
Yes, a
Couple
little bit of
gloves.
this, a little bit of that. It's all about taste. Ooh, that looks good.
Yep, scrape up a little bit off the bottom. That's where all the flavor is.
That's where all the flavor is, those little brown bits. So once you've got all that in there, we're gonna add the tomatoes, the water. Okay, now in goes our eggplant and our shallots.
Which smell absolutely incredible.
This stew, I mean, if you're feeling adventurous, I try it because the flavors, there's so many wonderful flavors in it. It just keeps surprising your palate when you taste it. It's so good.
It's so different than stuff we have here in Kansas, which I appreciate. But all the
Absolutely.
ingredients we have here.
Yeah. Okay, we've got that. And then it says just a little bit more salt, so we can grab.
I always add way more salt than the recipe calls for. Don't necessarily recommend it, but I am guilty.
We'll just put in a little bit of extra. There we go. And we're going to let that come to a boil. And we're going to let it boil and simmer for about 5 or 10 minutes.
All right, come back to me for a second. Look at that. Look at that beautiful color mine is done in just 3 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Actually, this is a
The
second,
miracle of TV.
second pot that has been simmering for an hour after I brought it to a boil. I'm going to put the last ingredient in. I'm putting a pound of fresh shrimp in.
Yum.
Don't get frozen shrimp. It does not taste like shrimp.
No.
Get fresh shrimp. Spend the extra bucks to do it.
Worth it.
This goes in for about 10 minutes, just until the shrimp are cooked, and then we're ready to serve. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, I can't wait to try that.
All right.
Have me with shrimp.
I know.
Now, Eric, you were going to talk about the origin of our
Just
stew.
very briefly.
Yeah.
So peanut stew. I'll set this down there.
We're gonna, that is simmering. We're bringing it to a boil. So we're gonna let it
Yes, I've always said so many culinary cultures around the world have like a signature core soup or stew or something. Like you got ramen and you got other stuff. And
Yes.
Yeah, this is very traditional.
Congee,
Yeah,
things like
exactly.
that, yes.
This is very traditional for Western Africa because of the spices are very local. They use a lot of local vegetables. Sometimes they'll use a sweet potato instead of the eggplant, just depending. It's the national dish of I think Senegal actually. But there's lots of regional. There's lots of regional variations, but. Throughout history with the colonialism that happened, some of the French influence came into the soup making.
Yes.
And that's how a lot of the base really resembles a lot of French soup bases, which is fascinating.
Which really makes sense with the gumbo.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gumbo, hello.
So there's your little history lesson.
That's fascinating. Well, we were saying, African food, it is a huge continent, and so we could make any number of things. But one of the reasons we wanted to make African Food was to talk a little bit about your experience with Book of Mormon, which, if you've not seen Book of Mormon, do yourself a favor and somehow get a ticket.
It'll be back eventually.
Yes, theater is coming back.
Yes.
Hallelujah. So tell us how long, what you did, and how long you were with it. And
I did so much with that show. I got it right out of college, like 2 or 3 weeks after graduating, which was just such a blessing. I was in the original Chicago company we were in Chicago for a year, then we became the second national tour. I was in the ensemble for 4 years total, and then I understudied, which was fun. And then I'd been doing enough, so I became a swing on the show, which is, if you don't know what that is, the swing understudies the entire ensemble and a couple roles. So I covered 8 of the Mormon boys. I played every white person in the show except for Price and Cunningham at some point in time, which was really fun.
8. So how big is the ensemble?
The Mormon ensemble is 7, and the Ugandan ensemble is 11.
I was amazed how small the cast was when you see all the parts you have to play.
It feels like a play more than a musical when you're on that. Even our playing stage is actually smaller than a lot of Broadway shows because we have the big set behind us. So I did that. So 6 years on the road, and then I made the strangest transition you can. I went to the Broadway company, but not on stage. I became the keyboard 2 player in the orchestra.
Yeah, because you kind of play the piano well too. Yeah.
You know, I did both in college, and I decided I was about ready to head out the door after 6 years, and they said, well, funny, we have a position opening up in the orchestra on Broadway. Are you interested?
And how did those 2 experiences compare?
Oh, so interesting. Sitting when you're in the orchestra in New York, those theaters are so small backstage. I was sitting in a corner facing the wall that was all covered in black felt by myself.
Glamorous world of theater.
But it was so cool because I was the doorbell, so that doorbell at the beginning of the show, I was like, I'm the star.
You ain't going nowhere without me.
We can't start until I do that. But actually though, you get just as much camaraderie being down there as you do being on stage. You realize just how many pieces there are and how hard everyone in the building is working, and I absolutely loved it. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
And how long did you do that?
A year.
A year?
Yes.
Okay, and then what happened?
And then Mean Girls came along. I happened to see the out-of-town tryout in Washington.
I'm gonna check
you do that. In Washington, D.C. a year before it came to Broadway, and I saw that role, Damien, and I thought, I want to do that next. And I thought...
Had you seen the movie?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The movie came out when I was in high school. It was textbook. That was how I learned how to be a teenager.
All right.
I know. And then I fought tooth and nail and ended up getting the national tour of that.
I heard a story, and I don't know if it's true. We can confirm the rumors here that you did something during your audition that made Tina Fey laugh. Is that accurate?
That is very accurate.
Because that's how, we're always so proud of our Kansas City performers who go out in the world and are such wonderful people to begin with. And then they do these wonderful things. And I can't remember who told me. Probably someone at Miller Marley.
Yeah, who knows?
And I was like, oh, so tell us that little
tidbit. Gosh. I didn't know Tina was going to be in the audition that day. It was only
Tina was
her. It was only my second time going in, so I thought for sure she wouldn't be there yet. But she's so hands-on with the show. She was there. And went in the room, was terrified, did the scene, and they had me go straight into the song, and I realized I didn't want to have the paper in my hand anymore, so what am I going to do? The music starts playing, and there's this big intro, so I just plopped myself down on the piano, and I did the whole intro of the song lying on the piano, and she was dying laughing. And I thought, if I don't get the role, Tina Fey laughed.
Tina Fey laughed. And then did you do a line, something about, take that, band kids?
Oh.
See, I don't even know how this happened. I hear all this.
Oh, yeah, that happened in tech. She was constantly rewriting the show. I had no idea she was in the audience that day because it was dark and we were paused. And she just walks up on stage and she goes, there's a 4-count gap there and I need another line. There's a punchline missing, just say something. And walked away. I was like, you're the queen of improv.
Yeah.
I did not.
But clearly you rose to the occasion.
I did. All I said was big mistake. No, I said suck it dance team. And it ended up being changed to big mistake dance team. We got to be able to license this to high schools.
That's right. Oh,
but
suck it dance team.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh,
Can I ask a question?
Oh, hi, Kevin.
Should I phone it in?
Phone a friend. What's going on? Ooh.
I have a question about swings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you move in the middle.
I had a friend that was
Eric in the middle,
Just
like
chilling.
Malcolm.
I had a friend that was a swing in Jekyll and Hyde, and her first Broadway performance was in the beginning of the second act. Somebody got sick, and she had to go in the beginning of the second act and do Murder, which is all that umbrella stuff.
Oh, yeah.
She was a nurse wreck. So I want to know how much time you have to know that you're going to go on at night.
Well, that's a great question.
What's smallest to longest?
Smallest to longest, I've seen multiple mid-shows. We had a guy run into a wall and lose consciousness right before the finale, and they're like, swing, you're on.
You're on.
That was hilarious. And sometimes you get a 2 months notice.
Yeah, your mother posts sometimes. You're
Yeah.
going to be playing this role in these cities.
When people have vacations
And we
and
all buy
things.
tickets.
My swing debut, actually, I only had 4 rehearsals.
Oh my gosh.
Because I'd been in the show for so long, and then I was going to get 3 weeks to just stand in the wings and take notes. They were like, you're good, just, you know the show, just learn it. And of course, that very first day, they're like, we're so sorry you're on. We have to put you on. So I had 2 hours notice to go on for a role that had lines and was in scenes I'd never done.
Well, I have to tell you that my first Broadway show was also the Book of Mormon. But it wasn't in New York. It was the Millen Marley studio.
Yes.
Almost New York.
Almost. I was playing for auditions, the Kansas City auditions for Book of Mormon. And I did that twice. And my first Broadway check says Book of Mormon at the top. And they said, you're now a member of the Book of Mormon family.
Aw.
That's how I got in to see it. I could never get a ticket. But when I became a Book of Mormon family, I got to go see it.
I love that.
I paid for the ticket, but I still got to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, when I got my first ticket, I remember it was pretty new, was going to be there. I was going to meet some girlfriends, and I told my husband, don't look at the charge card statement. This is my birthday and Christmas present. And God love him, he's like, okay,
Yep.
have a good seat.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great show. Yeah.
Oh man, that was my experience trying to get Hamilton tickets. I was only in town for 3 days, and I found out an hour before, and I was like, I guess I'm practically buying a car.
That's right. Did you think it was worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I was looking at ticket prices the other day. They're going to be expensive when Broadway opens back up.
Of course they are.
Gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I won't tell you how much.
Yeah,
I won't spoil your evening.
Okay, I have to do another step here.
Yes, we do.
So this is called African peanut stew.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't put in the peanut butter. So this is natural peanut butter, just peanuts and a little salt. That's just some tomato paste left over. Don't worry about that. I didn't cut my finger or anything. So we're going to take some of the broth and we're going to put it in to our peanut butter and stir it up a bit. Just to emulsify it a bit and smooth it out.
You'd be amazed how quickly peanut butter melts with liquid. It's magical.
It's nice and smooth. And then we're going to put that in. Ooh, there we go. Splatter, spatter. Okay. Do this. Can you stir while I pour?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm going to turn this down a little.
I'm doing it all by myself over here.
You're still here.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going over there? Okay.
I'm going back out on the road, Eric, so I get my show back.
Soon.
Oh, we've got the peanut butter in. And then the last thing that needs to cook is some zucchini. So that's diced up, kind of the same size as the eggplant. You don't need to sweat this out. We're just going to toss it in. And we're going to give that about another 5 or 10 minutes to cook. I had it last night and I thought to myself, you know, it'd be really good in here? Chickpeas.
Oh, that would be really good in there.
I think, you know, Kevin loves it when I say, I consider it just a template, but I think you could add
Oh yeah, especially with soups and
some
stews.
chickpeas and it'd be really good.
Do you have a ladle? Mine's ready. I'm going to eat.
Oh, yes. You're going to eat it?
I'm going to eat. I'm going to serve you.
I'll get 2 later. There you go. You do that. and
All
I'm
right.
gonna get-
So we've got some rice here that we're going to put in the middle, and the gumbo is usually served over rice. So I'm going to bring it back here. I'm going to plate it up for you. I'm going to serve it around the rice. Get some big pieces of shrimp there. All right, I think, well, maybe just a little bit more here. All right. And then we're going to put some scallions on the top of it to add a little green to it. Isn't that beautiful?
Oh,
And then will you give me a spoon?
yes, sir.
You can have 2 more if you want to taste it. I'm happy to share.
Let's go.
Yes.
All right, when you go to New Orleans, they serve it like this, and they tell you not to eat it like this. You have to stir the rice into it, but it's always served that way.
That's very fancy.
Yes, it's very fancy.
It smells incredible.
Yeah.
Sausage.
You gotta let
And
that.
shrimp.
You gotta let that go for at least. Oh, how about we have some cornbread?
The magical elves. Hey, there's some
Corn, look
cornbread.
at this. What else is down there, boys?
Is there some honey butter down there? Wait, no. Okay.
Are those some Mormons down there? Singing us that way?
They're so helpful.
They are.
Those Salt Lake City friends. All right. Are you in the Tabernacle Choir too? All right. I'm trying to stir it up a little bit so it won't be so hot because we
I'm
just
gonna
took
get
it
a
out.
piece of sausage.
Make sure you get some of the broth because that's kind of the. Look at Eric. There's plenty on each side. I'm gonna get a shrimp.
Got a little heat.
Mm-hmm.
Great depth of flavor.
Mm-hmm.
It pops.
There you go.
Gumbo a poppin'.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, that's good.
There's so many layers.
Yeah.
So, tell me the Holy Trinity was, and there's garlic in it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
My shrimp.
Yep.
Onions, celery, green peppers, green bell
Okay.
peppers.
Is there cayenne in there?
Nope.
Oh, it's really
Cajun seasoning.
Cajun
Yeah.
seasoning.
Yeah.
There's your heat.
And you
Okay,
get that at the
well,
grocery store.
we'll finish ours up over here.
Yeah.
So the last couple things we want to do is it calls for fresh lemon juice. So we're going to squeeze this in.
Peanut butter made it all nice and thick.
Yeah, it's creamy. Just this gorgeous color. I have to say, when you start with a roux or you've got that turmeric in here with the peanut butter, it just gives it this beautiful color. So we also have bowls of rice, and we're going to serve ours. Do we have another? Yeah. Hey, you want to scoop some up?
Absolutely. Oh, look at that. That looks great.
That looks
You
good.
might need to cook a little longer, but for our tasting.
Let's let you do that.
Yeah, okay, we're gonna do this. I'm gonna get another spoon. Oh, I can smell the peanut butter.
Oh, yeah.
Now you can top it with some freshly chopped peanuts and
Any herbs you might like, such as cilantro.
Eric brought his own cilantro or green onion
Yeah, why not?
or parsley. I think you all know how Kevin and I feel about cilantro, but we'll let Eric just douse his.
He can have all he wants.
Yeah,
You
and
got
I
mine
would
here.
say you want to stir this up too.
Yeah,
Get it all combined.
definitely.
Okay, let's try it. Let's see.
Wow.
All those spices.
All those spices really come through.
You get the ginger,
The gingers.
turmeric, cumin. So good.
And the crunch from the peanuts at the end is so nice.
Just need some grape jelly on it and it'd be perfect.
That's right. Or Dawn dish soap. No, we don't need the cilantro.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
No, I'm gone.
Dawn dish soap.
It would be a French word. Don't you show.
Dawn dish soap. Oh, you know, I had a whole page of trivia, but we didn't need it
Well, let's
because
ask
we
him.
got to hear.
Let's ask him a couple of trivia questions.
Okay.
Answer.
Okay, how many Tony Awards
9. And I can name
was
them.
it nominated for? Ha!
She didn't finish the question.
Suck it, dance team.
11. Suck it, dance team.
Suck it, dance team.
It only,
I think
only lost 2?
13.
It lost. No. Oh yeah, it lost 2 Best Actors, Supporting Actor, and Costumes.
Okay,
everybody
here's
was
the
nominated.
tricky question. Who won Best Actor that year?
Norbert Leo Butz for Catch Me If You Can.
You're good. You're right. And there, I cannot find any tie into 1776. Try as I might.
Okay, let's ask the last trivia question today.
Okay.
What are we doing in 2 weeks?
I don't know.
We don't either.
We don't know either.
Oh,
Our
let you
next
I got it
show.
right.
Gosh,
It's just been so much fun.
what,
I know.
what a treat. And the time flies.
I know, I could do this
I
for an
can't
hour.
believe this.
Thank you for letting me join you two today.
Thank you. Thanks, Kevin, for
Thank you
being
so
our
much.
special guest of
My
Eric and I's
pleasure.
show. No, thank you for joining
and
us.
tell us when you're going back on tour.
Yeah.
Oh yes, officially right now we're reopening November 2nd. Fingers crossed, but it looks like everything's in place, which
And
is
this
fantastic.
is
For Mean Girls.
and you're starting.
In Tempe, Arizona, and then doing the West Coast. We will be here in Kansas City in March next year
March.
on my birthday.
Oh,
So
get
he'll
your
be,
tickets,
he'll be
people.
cooking for all of us on his birthday.
Get your tickets because we're going to want to see him in Mean Girls.
That's right. That's right.
Gosh.
Well, I think that's all we have for you
I
today.
think that's all we have. Thank you again. Thanks for joining
Yes,
us, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.